Well, here we are on YouTube. Nathan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Just great. You know what I'm excited for is I'm excited to see if we actually get anyone watching this live stream.
Just out of the blue, we just made it live, no advertisement,
It's just boom, live.
boom,
Boom.
boom. Well, we want to welcome all our everyone from our Welpdom, specifically all those who are under the One Direction umbrella of people that have joined our channel and subs and Discord and Patreon. Thank you so much, guys and gals and people and whatever. We welcome you and sorry,
What's so funny?
I don't know. Animals, insects, creatures, all living things. Okay, this is Niall on CBC. Nathan, CBC is our Canadian Broadcasting
Corporation.
Network corporation. Yeah. So Niall was on a show. You know this individual Q that he was.
Q. Yeah, I didn't know that's what he looked like. I imagined him different because he's a radio host.
Wasn't Q in Star Trek?
Yeah.
It wasn't Q also James Bond?
James Bond, isn't he? Isn't he the letter that comes before? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, this is a Patreon request from one of our faithful, wonderful supporters on our Discord and on our Patreon and all that good stuff. Their name is TLY Chloe. And not much was really said. They just sent us the money and said, do this interview, and then they hung up on me. That's all I know. So
we did.
That's where we are, and that's what we're doing.
All right.
So I'm ready when you are. Yeah, I'm excited. So, I guess this is basic. Well, actually, let's let the interview speak for itself. So here we go. Niall on CBC, and there's Q. Hey, Q.
Take it away, Niall.
To say is back on Q. Nice to see you again.
Sorry,
to see you.
the show is called Q.
our
He's called Tom
Past
Power.
interview very fondly.
okay.
Well, is that so?
Yes, we had a great time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's good to be back. Actually, in
They're
the place
good
where you do it,
microphones.
because last time it was just in a room in Massey Hall.
Yeah, it was backstage at Massey Hall down in the basement. I
Yeah.
remember that very well.
Mhm.
I feel like you have you have an affection for Canada or Canadians in general.
Yeah, I do. I feel there's a couple of countries where I feel most at home, and I feel it
We're
makes
Canadians.
because I feel like Australians, Canadians, Irish, anything of
Scottish.
a Celtic nature, we get on pretty well, I think.
I remember last time you said Tom Power. That's the most Irish name I've ever heard in my entire life.
And then I asked you where you were from.
And I
You were
said,
like, "No, I'm from Newfoundland."
I didn't know I sounded like Father Dead. I had no idea. So I want to talk about the last time we chatted.
Yeah.
So we were backstage at Massey Hall. You had just dropped your debut album, Flicker. It was 2017. And you know what we talked about was how excited you were to be on your own. And you kind of confided to me on air, so you didn't really confide to me, but you said to me that you were a bit freaked out by it.
Mm-hmm.
So looking back, I got to start by asking, how did it go?
It went all right in the end. At that time, I was still very early into playing shows on my own for the first time, going around the world doing everything on my own, promo, interviews, TV, radio, getting up on stage. Everything was new to me. I was only about 5 or 6 gigs in when I seen you. Since then, a lot has changed, and you just feels more at home now.
Is that
And
so?
Just feels more comfortable. Yeah. Obviously, like any new thing, it's just going to be odd, isn't it, for a little bit, until you get to grips with it. That there's all the pressures on you, and every interview you do, you have to answer every question, and all of that stuff. And then when you get into that, then ready to go.
And what was something surprising about it? Something you weren't expecting about touring by yourself?
More time on stage.
I like being the front man. That was
Like,
good crack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you just said it. Frontman. Yeah.
I went to
See.
see the show that night.
Yeah,
it was
told
sure,
you.
Yeah.
I was nervous, like still at then. I don't know how you
Positive.
thought of it, but I was okay at the time.
Yeah, we got a comment here and there. So yeah, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over him. I apologize, folks. But he did say being the front man. Now he laughed and kind of said, "Oh, just joking," but not really. That's the answer that came to his mind. He probably didn't want to seem like I'm the star, but it's like, yeah, it's my show now. Like, it's me, and I don't have to like. Okay, they got the last 3 verses. Now it's my verse. They got the last 3 verses. Now it's my verse. Yeah, he gets to sing every song all the time, and that's probably just more fun than sharing a song with 4 other guys.
Oh yeah, no, I imagine like all of them that went, and started their own stuff. They probably felt that right off the bat, to some degree. Ellie says he barely got to sing very much in the first place.
Well, that's not good because we love Niall.
Yes, we do. No, it's
Okay.
wonderful.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and yeah, I like him. And he likes
I'll
Canadians.
give you my
so-
notes later.
Yeah.
Cheers.
So
No, I loved it. It was
That's
great.
the after part of this.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Things have changed. I definitely got more confident on the stage. Like running a show for 90 minutes is not the easiest thing to do, but I think I've got my arm around it a little bit more these days.
I want to talk a little bit about the new record. I want to talk about some of the new songs. Before I do that, though, I do want to go back a little tiny bit.
Okay.
Can I just pause it?
I don't think it'll
Sure.
be too
Sorry.
hard to listen to.
I'm not criticizing the interviewer, but I have a podcast, as you know, Nathan, and I've done interviews. I've done quite a few, and I also listen to podcasts or interviews. This is just a pet peeve Ryan has. It's just me, but this is just me talking to you. That's all it is. I'm sure this guy's the nicest guy in the world, but I never say I want to ask you a question. I want to talk about this. Let's go back. Let's go forward. You just do it. That's what I've learned in my interviews. Is just say what you want. I'm not ranting. Nathan, I swear.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know you are. But I'm being kind of serious because I think it takes away from just talk. Like when you're and I are talking, for example, I don't say, "Hey, Nathan, I want to ask you a question about when you were in your youth." Okay, so when you were in your youth, like just ask the question, just talk conversationally. He doesn't have to preface everything. So he's already done this like 5 times. This interviewer, just talk to him. Just say, what is it you want to ask?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's Tom Power's style. Yeah.
Well, it's irritating. It's a terrible style. So there you go. Like in my opinion, maybe people need to be eased into these crazy questions, but I think Niall can handle it if you just talk to him without having to preface every single question that this is a question coming. I've got a question for you. You ready, Niall? I'm ready. Brace myself. Okay, go. Yeah, it's a bit of a rant. Would you just hit play?
It's all right. All right. Here we go.
I want to brace you for it. Just take a listen to this.
I'm Niall Horan. I'm 16. I'm from
Turn it off.
Mullingar in the Midlands of Ireland. I want to be like big names in the world, like Beyonce.
You can take your headphones
Justin
off.
Bieber is a perfect example. I've been compared to him a few times, and
shall
it's
not
not a bad
listen.
comparison. I want to sell out arenas and make an album and work with some of the best artists.
He's embarrassed.
Hold it down.
What's your name?
I don't.
All right, bring it down. Bring it down. Bring it down.
Boo.
Why?
It's-
Why do you have such an unfortunate?
Wait,
There's
'cause you're
nothing worse
16.
than listen to yourself at 15 years
Yeah.
old, is there really?
However, it's not every day. Not everyone can have the experience of listening to a second that their lives changed. Like,
Yeah.
most of us don't have recordings of the time we met our wives, or the recordings of the day we were born.
That's true.
But it is kind of like that, right?
I suppose so, yeah. I mean, listening to your own voice most of the time is pretty painful. But
I hate listening to our
Listen to
videos.
stuff
I don't.
like that.
I mute our premieres
yeah,
for that
it's
reason.
pretty crazy.
I hate
Like, that was literally it, isn't it? That was the first interview I did on the TV show. I said some things, and a lot of them have come through. True. And yeah, hindsight is an unbelievable thing.
Does it even feel like it actually happened though? Like I feel like I'm speaking to you now. Kind of how many years removed from the band? I don't know what the term is.
4 or 5.
We'll
isn't
say
it?
on the break from the band.
Yeah, yeah.
Does it feel like it
20,
even happened?
2020
Like, how
now,
do you-
right now.
Oh yeah, like of course. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't do it. It's just that feels decades ago. To be fair, like it nearly is 10 years. That's crazy because I'm only 26, so it shows how young I was when I started.
This is 2020,
definitely
yeah?
happened. It was.
I'm guessing
it's an
2020.
absolute world.
Look at my
What I'm
One
doing
Direction
now is
knowledge come into play
completely
here.
different than What it was like.
Well, can we listen to some of the stuff he's doing right now? Take a listen to this.
Oh yes, we can.
I like the way you talk, I like the things you wear. I want your number tattooed on my arm in ink, I swear. Cause when the morning comes, I know you won't be there. Every time I turn around, you disappear.
That is Niall Horan, and nice to meet you on Q. Co-written by Canadian,
Great
by the
song.
way, British Columbia's own Tobias Jessa Jr.
Yes.
Oh,
love
British
that man.
Columbian.
Oh.
One of us. One of
he's
me. One of us.
Quite the
One of us.
character, Tobias. For those of you who don't know him, he's
I've never met him, you know.
is it really yeah.
Canadian,
He's like a
right?
big Labrador, a big happy
Yeah,
Labrador.
there's about
bouncing around the
35
place.
million people in Canada I
and
haven't
he's
met.
Very Canadian and very lovely. And when we get in the room together, there's just something that happens. I don't know what it is, but we haven't written a bad song yet, I don't think. And yeah, we did Slow Hands together.
A great
We
song.
wrote another couple of tunes and another few tunes from this album that you'll probably hear that will probably get the light of day, and this one as well. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. He's very good for when you're having.
Shout out to
writer's block.
Tobias.
And he's the man that gets the room buzzing again.
Is
Tell
that
me about
Niall's
writing
most
that song.
recent
What
album?
do you guys have to talk about?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it kind of came out of nowhere. It was one of those ones where nothing's happening, and
Yes.
we were in the studio just kind of sitting around, and we'd written a lot of songs that week, and we were just kind of coming in because we had a session, and then I just started playing that riff out of nowhere, and then everyone's ears perked up, and Tobias went over and played that kind of dancey piano straight away. And it's still the same piano now, actually. That's on the recording. That he did
cool.
At the time. And then we just went for it, and kind of like we did in Slow Hands, where you find a tempo, you find a bit of, there's something about it that you don't have to overthink the lyric. You don't have to dig really deep. I literally picked up a mic that looks a bit like yours, SM7. I think that one is, with a big head.
I get the nice one.
Cheers, yeah. I didn't get a very nice one.
Yeah, he likes to have the big head in front of his face.
Pick that up and just say, nice to meet you. There's voice notes somewhere, I don't know where they are. But there's a lot of screaming and shouting and not. So when I get asked about the lyric in this song now, I just kind of don't really know what to say, because it's one of those lyrics that you just open your mouth and things happened.
I mean, that's how Kerouac wrote, right? That's how a lot of the beats wrote. There was something they call it generative poetry.
Exactly.
You open your mouth and see what comes out.
And I prefer it that way.
But what's interesting about it is, and we don't have to get into this, but what's interesting about it, you do something like that, because I've done stuff like that, then you have to listen to it and say, oh God, what's on my mind right now?
I know. Then you have to start thinking actually what we're going to write about, because, to be fair, we'd written a lot of songs up until that point. At that point, I'd probably written 50 songs.
Wow.
You're.
It's that beginning part of your
we were
career.
having
Positive
days where
second.
nothing was happening, and then it kicked off, and then I started. Then
It's always very interesting as I've listened to music, of course, nearly 5 decades now. And when you study the bands that you enjoy, it's always interesting. Like, they'll release an album, and they'll say this is a song they wrote for their first album, let's say, but it's their 5th album. So artists like this, they do that. Like, especially when you're starting, kind of like it's that I got all this stuff in me, and that's why a lot of artists, no matter who they are, it seems like their first few albums.
Oh, they're best.
They are. I would say like their best, but in a week, yes, I guess. And no matter who the band is, it seems as time goes on, it's not like they're not good music, but there's something very special about the beginning of anyone's career. And we just saw this concert, of course. It's on our Patreon. Check it out. We watched Coachella with Harry Styles, and he was plugging his 3rd album at the time that hadn't been released yet. And I was thinking to myself as I was watching Harry, and of course now with Niall and Louis, same idea. It'll be very interesting to see where these guys are 10 years from now.
Oh yeah.
Because this beginning part, they're all nailing it. They're all doing a great job. But that's kind of the 10 years from now. What do they make? What's album 5 like?
Sure.
What's album 6 like?
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. You're getting your legs. You're really branching out. But yeah,
Well,
I can't wait. I just can't wait. It'll be very interesting to see. So come back to our channel in 10 years, folks, and we'll see. We'll see.
I would say they're going to still be doing the same thing. Maybe not the same following. Maybe it won't be at the height of where it is right now, but it's. I would assume they would be doing pretty much the same thing. You'll always tire of something. There'll be something that you're like,
Yeah, like our channel. People tire of our channel.
well, no. Like, I'll be honest. Like, there's things in our channel that we did, early on
anymore.
that we don't do anymore, because we were kind of like, we did that, and then,
It didn't work, or it doesn't sustain us, or yeah.
So is Niall's 3rd album coming out at some point? Is that
Yeah, when's that coming out?
just out of curiosity?
If we hit 15,000 subs, we'll do it for free. I don't think we're going to hit any of our goals at this point, but that's okay. We're loving it. All right.
Yes, we are.
Soon. All right, Nathan. Okay, keep going.
Okay.
This is a good interview.
All right, let's go.
Now it's
start
just a nice
thinking,
guy.
nice to meet you. It sounds quite like inner city. It sounds urban, and the whole feel of the song was starting to feel 90s and 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Like, tune,
I
like
remember
Fatboy
sitting in
Slim
excess,
vibes
remember?
and then it just kind of started messing around with the lyric and being really kind of like what we did at Slow Hands, I guess. 'Cause it's just like no one really knows what it means, but we just go for it.
Did you see the movie Snatch?
Yeah, I love it.
feels like it could be on the soundtrack for Snatch,
But
man.
that's exactly what I said.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, actually, the first thing I said was it could be on FIFA. It looks like it sounds like one of those songs that's on the menu.
Video
when you're
game.
choosing your team.
The video game.
And then I was like, it feels like it could be in a Guy Ritchie, Tarantino. That's why I shot the video the way I did.
If you don't mind me saying so, it's a far cry from the music I first heard. You know that clip we didn't listen to? It's a far cry from the music that you were making back then. What are you listening to these days?
Well, the first album, that's exactly what I wanted to do, that with that kind of music. And this stuff, I'm always like trying to get something out of my influences. People always ask me what I'm listening to, and it's never anything new, to be honest.
Yeah, well, tell me. Listen, man, I play the banjo. Like, you're not gonna,
That's true. Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
like it's not like I'm sitting here listening to Billie Eilish. You know, like don't worry about it.
I do love.
I
Billie
love
Eilish.
Billie. She was right there.
Oh my goodness.
Really?
Okay, just let him answer the
She wore
question.
4 watches.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I only have the
Sorry.
one on, Tom. Bit of a letdown.
Wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, big shame. But
Well, the reason I ask is not simply because I want your Spotify playlist, but because I'm hearing, and I can't actually put my finger on what I'm listening to there. Like, I'm hearing 90s British music. I'm hearing sort of rock. I'm even hearing 80s, 70s music. So,
Yeah.
like, what were you listening to around the time? Because it just says to me something that when you started playing, that's what came out. You know?
I suppose when I wrote that, what was I listening to then? I was listening to quite a bit of U2 at the start of this year for some reason. I really got into, because I went to watch the gig, their latest tour, where they did what was going on, you know,
360
in that place in California?
experience.
Los Angeles?
No, the album that's called
Oh,
The Joshua
you know?
Tree.
Joshua Tree. Sorry, I literally
Yeah.
went blank there.
Andrew Alba, everybody.
Yeah.
Good job, by the way.
Yeah, I was listening to Joshua Tree, and then I was also listening to the stuff that I did like in my teens, like Kasabian, the Kooks, Fratellis, Razorlight, kind of things like that, and those types of riffs are something that I would naturally play.
I've never heard of
anyway.
those
I would like
bands.
to-
No.
The Kooks.
If I was checking if my guitar was in tune, I would play a riff of some sort like that. Literally one finger, a couple of 2 fingers and one string, one of those riffs, and it just, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I listen to quite a lot. Like the harder rock stuff is something that I would listen to quite generally.
Does it feel like a risk?
Yeah,
to be
that's
making
right.
this kind of
Hard
music?
rock.
Yeah, of course, I like it, and I like the risk,
Why? What makes it a risk?
because there's nothing like anything else that I'm up against. When and sometimes I kind of go out of my way, but not in a rebellious like, oh, I hate pop music, because I don't. I love pop music, but I
See?
do.
Yeah,
appreciate
I like
people
it
who try
too.
and do something different. That's why Billie Eilish is so successful right now, because she sounds nothing like anything else. She sounds Billie Eilish, and that is it. And that can be said.
I don't know any Billy
Over
songs. I think we
the
did
history
one
of
song on our
no
channel. We
music
did
like
one
that.
way back when.
And
We
it
did
Yeah.
one
won't be
song.
for a while
Yeah.
either. And I'm not saying that I'm like Billie Eilish, but I do appreciate what she does. Like, she goes out of her way to be different. And
I like his style. I like
and
the way
really
he's
like that.
explaining this.
And
Yep.
when I'm looking,
Yep.
when I'm sitting like at the start of the record,
Agreed.
and I'm having a fair idea of what I want to try out, what kinds of sounds I want to go into, I look at like charts and radio charts, and you know, all the Amazon, Spotify, and Apple, and all the different vendors of, of music.
So you are listening to sort of like what's happening.
Yeah, we'll have a look at it, and then I'm like, yeah, well, I'm gonna try and do something completely different, but it's still in my flavor, in that
Okay, pause for a
rocky
sec.
thing, because I think
I think if I could speak for you now, let me mansplain it for you. No. I think actually what he's trying to say, and I think he's saying this without saying it, is, and I think artists that are current, like Niall, like Harry and Louis, for example, you got to be careful. They don't want to listen to other artists of a current nature because they don't want to copy them.
Yeah.
So it's like, so he's listening to the past, kind of what's already been done. Who bands like the Kooks, like people that you and I are the average. Like, I wonder how many people on our channel have ever heard of the Kooks, right? For example, the band that he brought up. So he's able to listen to these kind of influences and glean ideas from bands of yesteryears. Because if he listens to like current stuff today, it's like, I don't want to hear what's. I don't almost want to know what's. I want to come in with my own ideas, and so he's being very careful here by saying, I don't listen to current stuff. It's not because current stuff isn't good. It's not because I only listen to old stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm the current stuff. Niall, me, I'm the current Spotify playlist. So I can't be listening to other like-minded artists today because then I'm going to get stuck in what they're doing and I won't be able to think outside my own box.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe that's a theory that I have. I could be wrong.
It it fits into what I believe too. Like my phrase that I always go to for this idea of whether or not you should look at what other people are doing is like comparison is the thief of joy. The more you sit around comparing to other people, you end up losing what you were excited about. And we've kind of gone through that cycle of our own in the channel, where we start looking at other channels and what are they doing? Why aren't we successful? And blah, blah, blah. And really, we stick to what we like, what we do, what we enjoy. And that's where we find,
we don't, like, for example, our stupid little window of we're nobodies, but we have a little YouTube channel, and the same idea. I don't really watch other YouTube channels. One, because I don't want to be discouraged. Like, oh wow, they just said I like that video, that's amazing, and they get 500,000 views. It drives me off the wall. So it's actually kind of discouraging in some ways. And then it takes some like, okay, so it's not about that. I don't want about the numbers. I don't know why they're getting the views. It doesn't matter. I just want to do this with my best friend. Whatever, so I don't really watch other YouTube reaction channels now because I don't want to be, I almost don't want to know kind of what they're doing. I just want to be me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well said.
Well,
the way I think, the reason I think like that is because the success of Slow Hands made me think like that.
That was a groundbreaking song, hey? Like I feel like that song gave you confidence.
100%, because I like a song like that. I keep saying it, and I keep getting asked about it. But a song like that shouldn't have really been successful at that period, and even now, it had no right to, because at the moment in our charts, it's heavily dominated by pop and or R&B and hip hop.
See, he's saying
it's having a real.
He doesn't want to compete with what's popular. He just wants to do his music.
So
he's not trying to think what's popular.
Like Slow Hands, I guess in the end, when you look at it, when you're putting it out, you're scared and it's a risk.
Yeah.
But I think it stood out, and that's why people attached onto it, and hopefully to do the same here.
Can you help me, and only tell me what you want to tell me here, because I know it's kind of hard.
Oh, thanks for giving him
I don't know
permission.
how much you can really say, but I obviously don't know what it's like to come out of a big band like One Direction. This kind of, I don't know if you guys are a boy band. I don't really want to call you a boy band, but like you come out
Harry
of this
did.
pop band,
Harry called them a boy band. Even we know that.
I don't really understand the pressure of what it takes to come out by yourself, because I think you want to be faithful. You want to kind of have some audience that you had when you were there, right? You want to make sure to keep them around. It's just meaningful to me that this record is so different. That this record is so rock. This record is so kind of unique from what you were doing. Am I on to something that it's a little hard when you leave the confines of the band to start?
Yeah, you're on to something. What a genius you are. Just ask the question. What was it like to leave One Direction, start on your own?
Definitely not the first time.
Tell us about that journey.
How that was.
What are you doing different now?
I've known that since I was about 10. I knew that when I was 13 and I was in the pubs playing gigs. It was just me and an acoustic guitar. I knew that was how it was going to be.
What were you playing?
Songs like I was speaking about, and then kind of like bits of Dylan and bits of McCartney, and cause I was playing to like 50-year-old men, in the pub, and had to be out by about 8 o'clock because I got put out because I was too young. But I was kind of playing stuff, like the usual stuff, and then I had a fair idea of what like that was going to sound like. Second album, I knew that I was going to step up in terms of tempo. And that is all I knew at the time. I was going to try out loads of different things, but I knew that I needed more tempo. And because I toured for so long, I basically toured since I met you until September last year. So a good year and a bit of touring. And you learn just by looking at the crowd every night what comes next. You look at the crowd, you see the faces of people, you know when they cry, you know when they jump up and down, you know when they want to rip the roof off. And I'm the one that sets the set list, so I know where the moments are. And then I'm going to walk into the studio after the success of it. Right, I'm going to ramp this up. And you walk in with a chest out and go for it.
I tell you what I love about that is that little Steven from the East.
Okay, this guy's driving me freaking crazy. I can't take it. I can't take it. This interviewer is... Sorry, it's just stop talking about you. He keeps saying I. This is terrible interview technique. Stop talking about yourself. We don't care about you. You're interviewing Niall. Stop trying to get ingratiate. Why does everyone keep trying to ingratiate themselves with these guys? That's what it feels like. Just it's not about you. I am listening to Niall, but I have to listen to Niall because I have to listen to what he has to say to hear Niall's response. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to say. People like. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not sorry. It's it's natural. This is what I'm feeling. Right? Oh, he's a music snob. Well, good for him. Well, I'm an interviewer snob, so there you go. No, before you start defending this guy, Nathan, just let me just look at you about the defender. Okay.
Defending anybody.
What I'm trying to get at is, like, he asked the question. I don't know what it's like to be in a One Direction. Yeah, really? You don't? Well, thanks for pointing that out. I thought you were in One Direction. I thought this was One Direction interviewing One Direction. Anyways, I'm all over the place. I apologize. Let me get back to where I was going. So, Nathan. Okay. He's not a very good interviewer. I don't like him. I don't like this guy. And the way he does this with while he's listening and all this, okay. Just keep going with the interview.
Is this a Tom Power reaction or is it a Niall reaction?
No, it's okay. I love what Niall has. Before people say, just listen to Niall. I am. That's the point. I want to hear what Niall has to say. For example, all he had to say was, hey, Niall, you were in a One Direction, biggest boy band in the world. Now you're going solo. What was some of the things that you had to transition out of between a boy band and a solo act? What were some of the hardest things you did, and what were some of the easier things that you did? Go. Like, why is that so hard? Just, anyways, continue.
Band. Have you ever met him?
No, I haven't.
I've never met him either.
Right, okay.
But I don't know. In your world, man.
See, I never met him either. We don't care about you.
Right? So, speed dial, is that still a
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's still a phrase. I don't know if it's a thing.
I don't know if it's a thing either. He said that the secret of Bruce Springsteen is that he writes these incredible, beautiful, introspective, gorgeous songs, but he never forgets about what the audience needs.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you saw me when you were telling me that story, kind of pumped my fist. Because I would understand that if you were writing these songs and you were like, I want to communicate artistically, and I think you did. I think that's really important. But I love how putting on a show and making people dance, and you said everyone seems to be grooving, but they need something to dance to a little bit more. Your audience, you really do care about them. They're what's on your mind.
I mean, they're the ones that have to listen to it.
But really, they are.
Yeah.
They
Well,
are.
to be fair, it's funny that you mentioned E Street. I went to watch Bruce on Broadway.
Ooh.
On his show,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've
I saw that on Netflix.
I kind of wish I didn't read the book because it gave away the show. But when I was listening to that, he was like, he named loads of songs that he'd written about what they were about, political, factory workers, blah blah blah. And he's like, I've talked about stuff that I've never even done in my life.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's not that guy.
I've never had a job in my life. I've never worked in a factory. I've never worked in a car plant. I've never done any of this, and I've made a career out of writing about it. And when I heard him say that, I was like,
that's a big reveal,
because that is a man that just knows what's going on around him, knows that he can get up and play for 3.5 hours, sing those songs to people, and never want to get off stage, even if you are 65 or whatever he is.
Yeah.
74 now.
That really resonated with me, and it was more as well. I
think. Yeah, pretty.
I was always like very like, oh, I'm so rootsy, and like, let's play live kits and let's be really rootsy about it. And then my producer Julian Bonetta said to me, he was like, people want to dance. People want to be in bars and clubs and at concerts and get up and dance with a beer in their hand, and they obviously want to have their moments where they cry their eyes out in gigs, and that's what is great about having a set list, that you can do that. But at the end of the day, people want to get up and it's so true, and it really, it really got me fired up, and every time I went into the studio I just felt like something good was going to happen.
How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
Huh?
How old are you now?
26, yeah,
26.
just turned, yeah.
I feel like you've sort of avoided a stage in your life which could have been kind of poisonous. You and I talked a little bit last time, which I really appreciated. You told me stories about like, hey man, it's not easy to. It was a little scary at times when I was just kind of this kid from Mongar, and because it was pretty overnight, right? Like one day you were anonymous, you were able to go to Tesco, and
then you got popular. We get it.
Your knowledge of home is just too good.
Niall recognizes this. He knows.
This guy is good.
And head down the road. But really, it's overnight, right?
Yeah,
the next day you can't walk down the street.
Yeah, no, that would all pretty much kicked off. And to be fair, in the last 18 months, 2 years, it's definitely died down. Like until about a half an hour ago when I was live on TV, I don't think anyone knew I was even in the country, which is good. And it's kind of I kind of like the idea of being the normal 26-year-old that does an abnormal job. Like, the idea of being able to walk down the street to me is a little bit better of an idea in my head than it used to be. I used to probably just become a bit of a hermit and kind of stay in because of the fear of going out. It probably wouldn't have been that bad if I'd gone out, but the fear of going out was worse than actually probably being out. Now I can waltz the streets and have a look at the cities that I'm going to and appreciate them for what they were instead of them just being another place that you get off a plane and go to a hotel.
And bear with me here, but I feel like that can lead to a lot of dangerous things. You know, a lot of people who find themselves in your situations find themselves turning to drugs, turning to severe alcohol addiction. You know as well as I do, we don't have to say any names.
Not a
People who find
lot.
themselves
Some
in
do, some
situations
don't.
Haven't ended up squeaky clean on the way out, or haven't.
Yes, he's clean, doesn't do drugs. Wow, move
What do you
on.
attribute that to?
He has no interest. He doesn't want to do drugs. He doesn't care.
Yeah, no, the way we're brought up is a 100% a factor to everything. And people always, I know it's not a very humble thing to say, but people always mention.
Okay,
the fact
pause it.
how-
Okay, let me.
how
I got to
humble I
vent.
am.
I got to vent. I'm venting. I'm venting. Okay, he's trying to create a story here when there's no story to create. Like, yes, Niall doesn't do drugs, but he's actually one of many. There's lots of artists, especially the younger generations now. It's actually abnormal. It's
Yeah.
actually abnormal for these young kids to do drugs. They're actually a lot more educated, a lot more clean. When you and I, when we were listening to our rock bands back in the day, like Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Motley Crue, these guys were knee deep in drugs and alcohol. It's actually more abnormal. So this guy, what's he talking about? Hey, no, I don't get it, man. You're like 26, you don't snort cocaine. What's going? Yeah, nobody my age does.
Yeah.
Like, who's this interview? Like, there's nothing to say. He's telling a non-story. It's a time filler for asking what age he is.
Well, it's a straw man. He's setting up a straw man argument to say, like, hey, like, all these other artists do drugs and you're not. And it's like, yeah, you can push that one over so easily because it doesn't exist. It's not even a real argument.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, okay. So you don't do drugs now. Great. Like, congratulations. How did you avoid that? Because he has no interest.
No.
He just doesn't. He doesn't care. Whatever. Okay. All right. Cool. Sorry, I apologize to Chloe who gave us. Here's the thing, guys. I'm going to be honest here. This is just who Ryan is. I'm not going to placate. I don't care if nobody watches the channel anymore. But for me, at the end of the day, like, yeah, I love what Niall's saying. So let me say it again. I am listening to Niall's stories. I think he's a smart, intelligent, well-spoken individual. He's great. But even I can sense some of his reactions to this guy's. Oh my! Like, what do you like? As this interview winds down, I think, I don't know. I'm not saying I could have done better per se. Well, I know I could have, but the point is
Well, maybe one
Like-
day you'll be running Q.
no, I know. Well, I don't have any connections. I'm not going to be interviewing anyone from. I'm just saying, it's just that's the thing. This is this guy's job. You just think the people this is their job. It's not my job to interview. I'm just saying, why can't you just ask normal questions? And I always, when I do my interviews on my podcast, I always ask the person I'm interviewing, I try to ask them, what would I, as a listener, want to hear? So if I'm listening to this very episode, what is it that I want to get from the guest that a listener would really want to hear? Telling fans that your favorite artist is clean, why aren't you doing drugs, Niall? Don't you want to start cocaine off a hooker's ass? I don't get it. I know I would have. Do tell. Like his fans already know the fans are like, yeah, cool, yeah, we know he's clean. Next, anyways, go on.
Okay, I'm gonna go back 10 seconds because I think.
All right, yes, I know because Ryan interrupted the interview. Yeah.
What I've been through and whatever.
I'm the humblest person in the world.
Yeah. Everything. And people always, I know it's not a very humble thing to say, but people always mention the fact of how humble I am for what I've been through and whatever.
I'm the humblest person in the world.
Yeah, I'm so humble. You have no idea.
Anyway, sorry, please go on.
And I don't know. I guess there's a very Irishness. I always mention it. There's a big Irish thing to that. You know, the way we're brought up. No one's too fond of themselves, or you don't get on your high horse, and if you do, you get slapped down by anyone around you, whether it be a family or a friend. I would put a lot of it down to that. Also, it just depends on the type of person you are in general, like how you deal with it. Like, you can go two ways with all of it. You know, it can be detrimental to you, or it can be the most fun thing. And I just always see myself, and I've been thinking about it a lot because I got asked about it the other day. another Bruce thing, you know, he was saying about the first time he got his guitar. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm pretty obsessed with Bruce Springsteen.
Yes.
But when he was saying he got his first guitar and he stood in the mirror when he was 12 years old, and he was like pretending he was Elvis and, you know, wanted to be the rock star, and he still sees himself as that now, you know, that even though he's 60, what is he, 68 or something.
And he's the biggest rock star in the entire world.
I know, and then I still, like, I know I'm nowhere near Bruce, but that resonates with me. Like, every time
You'll get
still
there.
dance
You'll
in the
get
mirror, I'm like Kevin from Home Alone, like, you know, dancing around and pretending that I'm Bruce Springsteen.
I mean, as much as we didn't listen to it, you're still kind of that 16-year-old kid auditioning on X Factor. You
Yeah.
still are. You know, like, we don't. What did someone say to me? Like, it doesn't just, you don't just make it. You never think that you actually made it.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
You know?
Well, that's a lot of the time. That's when people go mad, is when they believe that they have. And do you think that Ed Sheeran is going to stop tomorrow morning because he's done stadiums? No.
No.
And you just get fired up because there's someone ahead of you that has what you want, and you're going to try and track them down. And the minute you lose that is the minute you go mad.
Bono, is that yours?
Huh?
Is Bono yours? Is that who you're going after?
I don't know, just any of
He
them.
just
Like,
finished
I'm
talking
good
about
friends
Bruce.
with
No,
them,
Bruce
you
was
know,
the.
I'm good
Is
friends
he
with
listening
some
to
of these
the?
guys that are doing well now, and you're half jealous of them. You know, you want to be there, or you want to be at the award shows with them, and you want to be on the same stages as them, and yeah, just that alone gets you fired up to write better songs.
I want to ask you about one of your songs. Can you talk about Put a Little Love on Me?
Yes, I'd love to.
I got a guitar there if you want to play it. Just tell me a little bit about it. I tuned up my high action Taylor for you.
Oh,
here,
it
by
looks
the way.
lovely, by the way. I like the finish.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. The start is better.
I love your honesty. This song kind of came about, just gone through a
We
breakup.
don't know this song he's talking about, do we?
And I
No.
just had to have I've been having problems with my sinuses for a long time, so I had to have a sinus surgery when I came off tour.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, it was affecting my voice and stuff like that. And
That's a scary surgery for a singer.
yeah, I know. To be fair, like, it is nervous, and to be honest, I didn't really know. He didn't really tell me much about what he was actually going to do when he got in there, because I didn't really want to know, because that kind of anywhere in there kind of freaks you out a little bit.
Yeah.
But he does a lot of singers, and you know, he's done Charlie Puth, and he did Sean's and Shawn Mendes, and he did a few of the lads, so I trust him.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I did that, and then I couldn't really leave the house for a couple of weeks because it was in case of catching infection or whatever. So, and I had planned on taking a lot of time off, and even if you know, when you're sick, you don't even want to do anything anyway. And then I just seen the piano in the corner.
Where were you?
This one was in LA, yeah. It was in the house in LA, and the piano was in the corner of the sitting room, and I just went over and
My house in LA.
the first thing I wrote down when I started
that house in LA.
was a phrase
Yeah.
that you'll hear
The,
soon when I
the third
release
one,
more.
not the second.
Yeah,
the
well,
album.
yeah, exactly.
And it was the first thing I wrote down, and I knew that I wanted to write songs that matched all of the feelings that you have when you go through a breakup, whether it be songs like Nice to Meet You, where you're clearly out with your friends, messing around, 26 years old, do what I want, when I want, and then you also have them days where you're like, this is horrible. And the phrase "put a little love on me" just came to mind in my feeling sorry for myself state, and I just sat down and I tried to like Elton John it a little bit, and started playing some cool minor chords and like being quite melodic about how I was writing the song, and every
I'll be
lyric I was
interested in
trying
hearing
to
that
tie
song.
lyrics from old songs of mine into it. And I actually have one in this one where in a song called Too Much to Ask on my first album I say, my shadow's dancing without you for the first time, and in this song I say, when the lights come on and there's no shadows dancing. So I was trying to be a little bit clever
little
and try and tie
connections
these
there.
songs, these ballads together a little bit, even if they're not about the same thing. But just like a very honest, as you know, I like to write a ballad, so the sitting down,
You like to write a ballad?
I mean, we all
He just
love
said
being
that.
sad. That's what I've realised about this. People love to talk about ballads, want to know what they're about,
Mm-hmm.
love
We haven't heard any
listening
of his
to
ballads, have we?
That's a man. I love Celine Dion. That's the reason.
I mean,
you know?
don't get me started on her. We could be here for a long time. But I just sat down and just started. I find them a lot easier to write than the up-tempo ones. Just kind of let it go. Just open your mouth, see what comes out. And then, yeah, just got going. And I tried to...
I would always
produce,
assume
like,
they're
different
harder.
People.
Ah,
And
me too, Nathan.
What
I
I ended
agree.
up realizing
agree.
was the magic was in the first take, and the first take of the piano and the first take
Oh,
of
okay.
the vocal that I ever did are the original, are on track now. I tried to redo the piano, redo the vocal, and there's something magic about this song in my mind. And someone said it's my career song, where it's the best song that I've ever written.
Which song? What's the best song you ever wrote?
But the most emotive song I've ever written, and I like it.
I missed the title.
I like writing sad songs, and I'm glad people like this one so far.
And do you agree with him?
Yeah, I there's something in this song that just still get crawls.
Put a little love on me. I don't think, have we heard that song?
I don't. That doesn't sound familiar to
I'll
me.
guess what it sounds like or something like that.
I play you a little piano maybe.
Oh, who knows? Maybe we'll get to the microphone. Nice to talk to you. I do just have a
It's a
couple.
shame when this is over. I don't like it.
You don't want? You want to keep going?
Yeah,
So I'm
talk
just
to me
going to
for 5
pause
more.
for a sec. So we
Yeah, of course.
did get a warning on our live stream in YouTube that says they've detected copyrighted audio and video.
That's
in our
fine.
stream.
That's fine. That's
So-
fine. It's not a strike. It's just
Yeah.
a copyright claim. That's all it's saying.
Yeah.
But we're recording this in the background anyways, right?
It just got temporarily blocked because we. detected-
Yay!
Yeah.
That's fine. But you're recording this right now?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I've been
okay,
recording the whole time.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. The stream ends. That's fine. All right, keep going. We'll just re-upload it to YouTube, and then we do the dispute and blah da 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 da.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 5 more minutes. That was what you meant. I thought you were going to take another 3 hours or something like that.
Well, I mean, I can see people looking through windows.
Oh, I've been looking up there too.
Yeah.
I can see it. There's a laser pointer trained in my head right now.
Please, somebody pull the trigger.
Poor old Tom Powers getting the dagger eyes.
If that doesn't stop talking to that guy in his feigned Newfoundland accent, he's from Toronto. Don't let him lie to you.
I love it.
Do me a favor. That kid who I played that clip from that we didn't listen to.
I didn't. You did.
What would you? No, you played it. Well, you were him for Christ's sake. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have it.
Fair enough.
What would you tell him? What would you tell him about the road he's about to embark on?
Oh, it's nuts. It's going to be crazy. You have no idea what's ahead of you, son. I don't even. It's so hard to like even stick a finger on it because it's something that I don't really. Some things feel like they were yesterday. Things feel like they were 10 years ago, or 20 years ago even, because it was 10 years ago. But just get ready because some of it is exactly what you think it is, and most of it's not. And when you're a kid and you have a view of what it looks like from you go to a gig and how would they enter the stage, blah blah blah. I mean, it's not as glamorous as it looks.
No,
first of all,
there's a lot of times.
whoever said that the music industry looked glamorous, it happens about 4 times a year when you step on a red carpet. But behind that red carpet is just a piece of wood holding up a sheet that has a sponsor on it.
Yeah, and a fruit tray.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get ready to eat a lot of hummus and carrot sticks and free bottles of water. I know, just get ready because what's ahead of you, you've got no idea. And you're just going to have to take it step by step and handle it. And when I sit here now, 9 or 10 years later, whatever it is, I feel like I did an alright job at handling it, and hopefully I can handle it at this level for a very long time, Tom.
I think so too. It's been nice talking to you. Before I let you go, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of questions today about whether the band's going to get back together or anything like that. Not really my gig, as you know.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing I will say is that I've listened to what each of you guys have done. I've never seen a band do so many different things. Like each band member made a completely different record from one another.
Yeah, true, yeah.
So when the time comes that you guys do maybe sit back down together and make music, I'm really excited to hear what it's going to sound like. I can't imagine what a guy who likes Bruce Springsteen, a guy who likes David Bowie, a guy who likes trap music. You can guess who I'm talking about
It's
there.
quite the combo, isn't it?
I'm excited to see what you guys do again if you ever do it again.
Yeah, no. To be fair, that was what was always fun.
It's never gonna happen. I'm saying it right
different
now.
Types of music, and we kind of set it out.
No, I'm
doors that
serious.
We were
I'm-
kind of like a
I don't think so.
pop rock. We always had a guitar edge to our thing, and took a few albums to get that perfected. I think the last couple of albums was clearly a solid sound and probably quite underrated. If you listen to those albums again, I was actually listening to one of them recently, the latest one, and there's some great sounds on it.
Yeah, there are some
And
good
I feel
songs
like
on there,
I think you just kind of have to pick up from where you left off if you go again. Yeah.
I just think it's underrated because if young women like music, I think Harry was right. If young women like it, hip cool people have to say they don't.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like,
What?
I mean,
I didn't quite catch
the
that.
truth is, in every aspect of culture,
Sorry.
young people, young men, women, whatever you may be, have so much power. We've seen it with, like, in America, with all the political stuff, with the economics situation and all of that stuff. It's the young kids that are you got like a 12-year-old from Sweden dominating the news. I mean, young people are the ones with the power, and they've shown that for so many years. The young people always pick up on something and really go with it when they get it.
It's nice to talk to you. Thanks for coming
You too,
in.
Tom. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. Niall Horan,
got a
sophomore
sweaty
record.
hand.
Don't leave him
Would you
shake
like to
I'll shake it. So Niall Horan's sophomore record will be out soon. His new single's called Nice to Meet You. Here it is.
Well,
Niall's awesome. Niall's great. Niall's a beautiful, beautiful soul, talented, well-spoken, intelligent, funny, humble, gracious, and he tolerated Tom better than I could have. Go ahead, Nathan.
like some big takeaways from here is to see Louis. Oh my gosh, to see Niall talking about his influences, for me, makes me like him even more, because you know, for him to say Bruce and U2 and kind of this,
I know,
like,
it's pretty hits.
those
Like,
are our
you
two
would-
biggest hits.
Yeah,
Those
I know.
are those like,
I love.
you know, so like, I mean, I'm signed up for the long haul for him. I find Niall very easy to listen to. You know, I find his take on things very refreshing. I've listened to Tom Power on the radio forever, so
Oh, good for
I
you.
know what he's like. I just don't care. You know what I mean?
Okay, you
Just
remember,
just
Nathan,
as-
I talked about this. Just because I'm aware doesn't mean I care. It's just annoying. But go ahead.
I know it seems like you care, but I know that you don't. But I don't care at all. Like, I'm not gonna like discuss the way he does it. I've already decided I don't care about what he does. So with Niall, though, I really think that like, I'm now legitimately looking forward to the new album whenever that comes out, because I would assume his creative process is very similar to my creative process and the kind of creativity that I appreciate. I do think, however, here's my prediction. I know that One Direction is, you know, that's not going to happen, but I do think that we're going to see more crossovers here and there, kind of like, you know, like almost like cameos on each other's performances, if they haven't already done it. But I would imagine that that's going to happen here and there. Yeah. The fact that Harry is still doing You Don't Know You're Beautiful still kind of says there's still not interest in getting back together, but interest in kind of keeping that flame alive. And so I'll bet you'll see cameos, you know, over the years here and there, just like the Beatles kind of did once in a while.
Sure. That's fair. That's fair. You're a much more mature person than me, Nathan.
Oh yeah, it's a contest. I forgot.
No. Would you stop it? I honestly, for me, well, here's the thing. It's just the way I am. It's just the way I am. You know, the same way that someone can listen to something, whether it's a talk show, whether it's a music video, whether it's a TV show, it doesn't matter. Like this, you know, Niall is awesome. Niall's great. I just found the interviewer grating.
Yeah.
Maybe after 100 interviews, yeah, you get numb to it, sure, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
This is my initial. I wanted a better interviewer. That's all. And there's some really good ones out there. There are some people who are really good at interviews, and he's just not one of them.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those people that will just say he's just like everyone else. What a unique snowflake. I'm not. No. Like whatever his design, it doesn't help me any. Like anyway, so.
Right.
That's all. But I did like hearing what Niall had to say before people say just pay. Okay, I am, but to pay attention to Niall's part of his interview, I have to hear the interviewer what they have to say to Niall. Like that's what I'm listening to, you know.
I get it.
Or else Niall's statements don't make sense. So, anyways, that being said, I liked what Niall shared. I liked hearing the influences, of course, of Bruce and U2. That's really cool to hear. I gleaned from him as well that he has no interest in being with One Direction. I know they're going to be mum on it. I know, but I guarantee you, Nathan, the first thing he said at the beginning of that interview was he likes being the front man. So I think he's happy. I think he's happy doing that. I think he's happy being the front man. And I hope he is. I want to see more of Niall. I look forward to hearing more songs from Niall, and I look forward to his third album. So thank you so much, TLY Chloe, for this awesome journey and interview and pledging this to Nathan and myself. I apologize if I ranted too much. I apologize. I'm going to get in the comments. Ryan, blah, blah, blah. People are going to tell me how I have to think. So just, which I think is ironic because I'm not, I'm not allowed to tell how this guy should interview, but people are going to tell me how I should think. So anyways, the irony. All right.
Yeah. Well, It was fun. I enjoyed it. And hopefully stick around for a lot more. And we'll see you in the next one.